part 2 of this Longbow build, and what I've done now is I've sanded this, so I've got a nice keyed surface, and I used a nice piece of coarse. Fine just takes forever, and the coarse just gets right in there. You can remove the writing on it as well. That may be enough if you just want a very smooth wood texture, but I'm going to go at it a little bit more with a little rasp there. I did a little test yesterday, and this is when it came out. It's really quite impressed. You've got a lovely, and this is done with a bit of a rasp effect as well. Be warned though, if you put it on really thick and it's really dark, it takes ages to dry. This is still actually a little bit damp, and that's 24 hours, so I'll keep an eye on that, see how that goes before I actually apply it to here. It says water mixable. Maybe you should mix it with water, but I'm not sure, so I'll get back to you on that, but that's not yet. What we've got to do here is we've got to, now I've sanded that, I thought we've got to get these nocks in. Now what I've done also is I've filled the ends of this pipe. I use a bit of epoxy resin, but because it won't look very realistic if it's hollow. So a little bit of plastic padding, car padding, you know. What else could we use? You could use a sealant or something. So, you know, whatever you like, just to fill that up. Now what I've done is I've marked for my nocks. Now, going back to our bow here, it looks almost as if he cuts right through here, but you don't want to do that. And I'm not going to cut even right through on these sides. I'm going to use a Dremel drill. This is going to be the back where the cord's going to rest. The sides need to be the deepest part. So I'm going to go on there with a little Dremel, and let's see how that goes. Now I've selected a very small tip here, and we're going to start on the back. This is where it just needs to be deep enough to just hold the cord in, and then we go round, and I've marked on the sides, and then we'll just go a little bit deeper just around that side. So there you are. There's the back, the sides coming round and finishing off just about there or there, so leave this completely. Now then you can just try it with a loop, one of my old test loops there, and I'd suggest that when you make this loop like that, it doesn't want to be too large to keep it nice and tight, and that's not going all the way in, but it should be enough. Obviously I can do a test fire and I've always cut out a little bit more, but I think it's safer to, you know, have it a bit less to start with. Just finishing off here with a little round needle file. You could, if you haven't got a Dremel gun, obviously you could use this right the way through the whole process. The Dremel just speeded things up a little bit. But as I say, I'm not going right the way through, and I'm stopping at my marks. Make sure you keep your marks there, so you've got a space of about ½ an inch, and this is obviously at the belly side of the bow. This is where the loop comes through. So to achieve the finish that I got here, and it really is really nice, it's got a lovely wood finish. It really is quite effective. I didn't go too mad, but I certainly went in sort of with a file like this, roughly going as it would do, as a straight grain, but you can go in a little bit, turn the angle a little bit. Obviously I'm doing it here on a bit that's actually going to be wrapped with jute, but yeah, I want to, before that goes on, I want it all to look right, and it's a good place to start testing. So just keep going around like that. Use the round side for a different finish. Then once that's all rasped up, go in with a bit of coarse paper again, which you started with to prep it, just to take all the large pieces off, and then go in with a little bit of smooth just to finish off, so that the top surfaces will have some nice smooth areas. Get all those rough bits off there. Right, so now it's time to put on the plastic primer. It's all nice and smooth, wiped it down, cleaned all the dust off of it with a towel, and there it goes, right down to the end there. And this stuff is pretty quick drying, so a light dusting over the top and leave it for 10 minutes and you'll be able to turn that over to the sides and the back. Now when I first gave this a good shake, and that's what you need to do, there wasn't the old ball in there rattling around, and I thought, oh okay, when I did the test piece I just sprayed it. I don't think it was mixed enough, so now you just keep shaking that until you hear that ball going and give that a good shake. Now it's ready. Now don't be tempted to go too heavy on this as well, just nice and light dusting, and then you can turn that over just down the sides there. Just concentrate on what you can see. Well, it's August bank holiday and the sun's out. It's must be one of the warmest days of the year. It's absolutely amazing. And I'm down the workshop and it's jolly warm down here. I won't be spending many hours here, but anyway, the bow is all sprayed up. I've just come down, there's a couple of bare patches, so I've just given those a little touch up. And whilst waiting for that to dry, I thought I'd just give a bit of linseed oil to my arrows. I've got 6 I'm going to make, and it just gives them a kind of nice little finish, bit of a yellowy finish on them, and then as soon as that's done I should be able to apply some brown paint to this bow and turn it into, well, maybe a wooden one. Right, well, let's apply the paint. Now just a little tip here, you've got a bit of a gap as you can see here, so I'll just put a little rule through there, which means that I can really paint the whole thing in one go without touching it, and then just stand it up and let it dry. And in this temperature, hopefully it shouldn't take, well, too long. So just a little bit on the starters, and then just where you're going to you know, actually cover this with the cord or whatever you choose to cover it with, start there and just do a test. And I say don't leave it too thick and work it in. You get a nice light colour and almost looks like you. Get it into the knock here. And just stretch the paint out. Work it into all of those little areas. There you are. So actually when you're rubbing this in, just keep going until you can actually feel a drag, so you know that you've got it nicely evenly spread. The beauty of this is you don't have to be precise, but you do need to be thorough with the coverage. Just work it in until every surface, even the deeper ones, they're coming up nice and dark. Look at that. Let's not forget the end. Well, it's fooling me. So there we are. That's the end of part 2. We've done it. Looks really nice, and you don't have to use the rasp. Maybe if you wanted just a lighter effect, just the coarse sandpaper alone will certainly gives it a lovely finish. But I'm really pleased with that, and that's absolutely brilliant. So in part 3, once this is dried, we shall get the jute cord on either end and on the handle, which should look absolutely smashing, and then get the old Flemish twist going and work out how much of a draw weight it's got.